Customer versus system, which is more important? Today's topic, I'm Joshua Barnes, and as always, I'm joined by Al Shalloway. And customer journey is something that we have touched on in the past. It's something that has gotten to be a bit more important from a focus perspective in some of what we've been doing. And so what I'm going to kick us off with today is to Al, ask you if you can explain a bit of the differentiation before we really get into this between customer versus system.
Yeah, there are actually two different levels here, and I can quickly describe the first one, and then I do want to get into the customer journey a little bit. So the customer versus the system is, think about it this way. Which goes first, 9A or 10? Customer would think 9. The system would think 10. And where you come from makes a big difference. Computers are notoriously hard to use because they can't do stupid things like sort. And if you put in something like they ask you for a date, so you put in 10/25/01 or something, where you're in the United States and that knows it's day, month, year, it'll say invalid date, put the slashes in there for you. I mean, it can't even do menial tasks. It's what? I've got this computer that can't sort. I got this computer that can't do menial tasks. I put an extra space in somewhere and it says they don't match. A space and A don't equal each other. I mean, what is going on here? And then if I forget to save thing, it loses it. Didn't you see me doing this? I mean, that's just plain old, where are you coming from? The classic story of I've got a remote control to my TV and DVD set and I press play and it doesn't play and there's nothing wrong with anything. And why does that happen? It's got the batteries. It's kind of, well, it's because I'm in TV mode. Well, there is no play in TV. It's only in DVD. That's coming from the system point of view. And it makes software horrible. I've been on a rant of this since the mid 80s, because in the 80s, on a PC with 640K, that's 640,000, not megabytes, not gigabytes, but 640,000 usable characters for the program and the data. I had 9A come before 10. I had dates sort properly. I mean, it was not hard to do. It was actually pretty easy. I was using the C language, but anyway, that's the user interface stuff, I guess, just how you interact. But the bigger one actually is the customer journey.
So what is it?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to ask me that. So the customer journey is like from the time the customer starts working until they get the value they wanted. Not working on the computer, just starting their job. In fact, customers' journeys often involve not a computer at all. We've got this routine in my house, my customer journey to take the trash out or keep the kitchen clean, where a place to put trash. Well, it starts with filling in a place where we put bags, and then eventually I tie it up, I take it out to the trash can, and then I'm done. Customer journeys are just from the start of wanting a task to get value and then getting value. Now, with computer systems, which are fairly rampant, the customer journey involves some aspect with the computer and some aspect without the computer. And what's interesting is this idea that sometimes the biggest innovation has to do when you're not on the computer, not on the system, but the system makes it so you don't have to do some stuff you had to do otherwise. And the customer journey can be several intertwined. For example, ordering a pizza. You call up on your phone and say, hey, I want a pizza. Well, I've ordered it, right? I got to drive down there. I've got to then tell them, hey, I ordered it, and then I get it. Or possibly I say, deliver it. And then there's different journeys of, getting it delivered to me. Or if it's like Starbucks, where you order it and they have it ready for you. That was kind of a nice innovation, that I'm going to go there, pick it up, but they know I'm there and it's all set. I don't have to say, hey, I ordered this and find it and all that. They have it on a waiting place. So innovation often happens outside of the interaction with the computer system.
Yeah. So the customer journey, right? And I like the Starbucks example, because whether it's Starbucks or Tim Horton, I guess, if you're a little bit further north than us, or abroad, right, from the US. If you think about the customer journey and how we interact with technology, we can be standing in line at a coffee shop like that, and there's a point of sale system that somebody's going to take our order. But then you can also put it in the app, right? Like you said, they know that you're coming. And then there's also oftentimes drive-throughs, at least where I'm
That's
at.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Same here.
And not all of those customer journey experiences are the same,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's very disjointed. And the way one thing on the app versus being in person, what takes precedence, like a lot of times that's just not considered at all.
Yeah, and it's really interesting if you look at the truly great innovations and you go way back. Like look at the Sony Walkman. The Sony CEO actually got the idea, Marito, and he got it by watching people in New York City. He was in a hotel that overlooked Central Park, and he noticed that those days, remember the boom boxes? They had boom boxes on their shoulder, and he noticed people who didn't have boom boxes who were running because they're exercising. And he realized, man, it'd be really great if you love music and you loved exercising, you can combine the two. And he got the idea of maybe he had a small player. Now in New York, you might have people running with boom boxes, but that's another story entirely. Uh, but so the idea of the Sony Walkman came by observing two customer journeys that could have been combined into one thing. And he made a tape recorder, not a recorder, excuse me, a tape player. That's also what's interesting. He had a hard time getting his engineers to build a tape player. They kept making smaller tape recorders until he finally threatened to fire the next person who brought him a tape recorder. I don't want a tape recorder. I want a player. I want every little piece out that can be out and it still plays. So developers tend to focus on the system. That's what gives us our passion. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. That's what gives developers passion. I've been there. I do that. I know what it's like. I still do that with my own services. I get so, oh, this is so cool. This is so great. It's natural, but it works against you. Another best example, and there are a lot of, like Venmo's a more recent one, but another great example is what Apple did with the iPod. You had all these disparate parts of the customer journey all put on one thing and then eventually on the phone. The savings there is that I just go to one place and everything happens, and it's really nice. And you see this, that if you attend to how the customer works, a few things happens. First of all, you don't have to do the wrong stuff a lot, because just watch what the customer is doing and do it faster or do it better. But you have a prototype called, here's a customer, how they're doing their job. How do I improve the customer work? Not how do I improve the system is a much better question to ask. So that's the big shift. There are two shifts here. One's local. How does the system respond to things, questions, the UI, I suppose. And then this is more than UX, the customer journey. It's how do I innovate so they can get more done in less time in an easier way? And yeah, continue to improve the system, but don't improve how it works. I mean, don't improve the path you force on the customer.
So in other live streams, we've talked about mapping processes. We've talked about mapping value, doing value stream mapping. What about customer journey mapping?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked this question. So we talk a lot about how to decompose whatever we're building. Jeff Patton has a really good story mapping thing where you take whatever chunk is and you decompose it. And as most of the listeners know about Joshua and I, we use these things called minimum business increments that are a kind of inspired, I should say, by minimum marketable feature. Nothing to do with Safe's MMF. That they just use the name, but it's wrong. But the minimum marketable feature from Denny and Cleveland Wing, we integrated that concept along with full kitting from Theory Constraints. And it's really a beautiful chunk of value. This is what we're going to deliver soonest and all that, and all the different pieces. And customer journey mapping is a recent invention by Success Engineering, where we actually look at this decomposition in the context of the customer journey and in the context of the business. And it makes a great way to now align everybody, because you see all the parts of the organization that are needed. So when you do decompose it, you do two things. One, if it's a decomposition of a separate thing, you can see the context it fits in. And sometimes you realize, oh, I hadn't thought about that, but I need to attend to these people. So you do that. And I think this is a huge kind of insight on how to decompose it in the context of value, not just in the context of some feature that's going on. I see we're just about out of time. While we were talking, there's another thought, because I love that people learn from what I call dormant knowledge, what they already know or what they run across on their own. The next time you have a computer system and you curse at it under its breath, or whatever, get irritated by it. And it could either be because it just kind of, what, why is that? I don't know, or did something odd, or it's making you do extra work. Ask yourself, what were they attending to when they made the system work this way? Could they not have seen what I wanted? And I'm not talking about anticipating. You can't anticipate what users do. I'm talking about just responding in an intelligent way. So some of my least favorite tools are always trying to figure out what I'm going to do. They don't have any clue what I'm going to do. Stop doing that. But if I put something in, you can see what would it mean for somebody to put this in this field. A lot of times that makes perfect sense. Look yourself, see it, learn what other systems are doing badly. I'm sure your systems are great, but maybe you'll learn a little bit more when you get here to, oh yeah, I'm glad I don't do that, and underscore it that way. Anyway.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, so that's about time for us today. If you want to learn more about this topic, reach out to Al or I. You can post a question on the LinkedIn thread, and we can provide you with some options for how you can continue to learn.
I just remembered. I couldn't believe I forgot this. If you go to Success Engineering, successengineering.works, and go under presentations, I actually have a presentation on the customer journey mapping. I forgot I'd done that.
Yep,
So it's out there, you could watch on it. It's part of the Amplio community practice, which we don't always make all the presentations public, but this one is because I thought it very important. It also bridges business and development. So anyway, hope to see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.